if Knox is the person, actually we'll start hits first. If hits is the person driving, they are set up in the front, right? And I take a huge juke here, and go. I want y'all to look at Hits' feet right now. How many steps did Hits take to try and drive me? How many? 1? Yeah, 1, 0 before immediately going into a double glide. Yeah. Instead, we need to see if you are the person driving, you are continually moving until that jammer is stuck in 4. You have got to push, especially if that jammer is going for a big juke. If they're just going for one of these, right, that's much more of a tripod, right? But if I'm going for a big juke, right? Right? So if you do not run like hell, you are going to miss it. So it's really, really important. If y'all see a big juke, that drive needs to be at like 110%. Same thing, if you are receiving the drive, we'll flip it for a second so that Knox is the one driving, Hits is the one receiving. Just like we talked about receiving contact being long and low, when you are receiving in a drive, same thing. But you gotta watch the angle of your skates. So again, if I'm in a juke, if Hits is in that 90%, out of breath. If Hits is in that perpendicular position, like she is right now, right, and they slide to try and drive, I can beat that, right? If I'm going fast enough, I'm going to be able to beat that, and I might get like a clip here before I go around. So instead, when we are set up in the diamond and we are wings, can I steal you for a second? Instead of being set up like this, counter-indicted to the track, we need to be set up angled so that when Knox drives me, I'm actually rolling at a 45 degree, right? That allows me even more time to catch that jammer. Knox, Hits pop back in. So Hits angles, and then if I do a huge juke, right? It's much easier for them to catch. So those are the two things I want us working on going back out there. Person driving, I want at least 2 steps, if not 4, depending on how much it takes to get to the line. It is okay if you drive other people out of bounds and get the jammer out of bounds as well. It's not ideal, but if that's what it takes to get us to start practicing that like that tenacious drive, that's awesome. 2, let's work on wheel positioning. And when the jammer is calling, let's have a check inside the shape really quickly to just be like, wheels, good, we're ready, fantastic. I'm ready. Basically, I would say this ready position is good for pushing or receiving. As Knox comes up, let's say she tries to go outside and then goes in. So let's do it flip side. So you can see. So I think that she's gonna come, and we're also gonna talk, right? We're gonna try inside first and then go out, just so we can see the adjustment. If I think she's gonna go, and I push down like that to get ready to receive, then I see that she's moving. That actually loads me up perfectly to run back the other direction. I'll demo it one more time. So, and here, I start to drop and start to put like 1 foot back. That allows me to rock back, drive forward. Make sense? Coming up to play offense. Regardless if you are a dedicated offense, regardless if you are playing power jam offense or quick scoring offense, there are 3 moves you can do. And for all of these moves, right now, it's not necessarily we'll always do this in gameplay, but for right now, I want y'all to focus on moving somebody a minimum of 2 lanes. What that is going to do is really force us to be down into our coil and be in our power box when we hit people. Because I can probably, like, Knox is strong, but I can probably use a D-cut to move Knox 1 lane, even if I don't try, right? But that, in a real gameplay situation, she's just going to step around me and that's going to suck. So if I really wanted to use a D-cut catch, I need to really think about dropping low and hitting. Did everybody see the difference in kind of that form? Great. So what we're going to do is pair up and work on these 3 forms. I'd like you to do it in order. So do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're going to do 3 repetitions, so 9 total, and then you're gonna switch to your friend. And you're gonna do both sides. So the first one that you're going to do is just a standard step in front drive. Okay, great. All right, so for all of these, I want us to practice doing this no further than like half a skater away. I don't want us to practice with like 20 feet of speed because that is very rare. I want you to be here, straight. The normal hit is a couple steps, and then we take a juke step the same way we would if we were a jammer, but instead of taking that juke step and exploding that way, we're gonna take that juke step and drive that person at an angle out. Important things about this. 1, the juke step's how you load. 2, when I hit, I am aiming for my hips or my leg to hit this part of Knox. If I am any higher, I am not moving their power box and I'm not actually getting momentum. So I'll show you the difference. This is hitting them above the hips. This is hitting them below the hips. That's why I didn't angle my feet properly. But you all see the difference in like the power that you get. Sometimes your blocker is a little bit furry steady. Yeah, love.
So one of the things I noticed with the second one is that even though you didn't necessarily like shoot her across the track, she couldn't step out of it.
She couldn't step out of it, exactly.
So like even if it's not like the dramatic thing that like you're picturing in your head, it's still you still have a second to like.
Exactly, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But for now, let's just practice the hits. Receivers give a little bit of resistance, but it doesn't, I would say, deep catch. So same idea, you're stepping, but instead of taking a forward step like that, you're stepping, and then you're using this foot to pivot around. Now here, I am catching them on the side. I'm not trying to catch them down here. I mean, if you're very small, you can, but that's really hard. Instead, I think about catching them right in front of the hips, because what I'm trying to do is cause a lat bar, so that when I come around, I'm driving them out like that. I'll do it again at a little bit of speed. So again, coming in. Juke. And you notice my skates are always angled forwards, right? Even though Knox's momentum is very flat, I am being very judicious about making sure that my heels are pointed, if not 90 degrees up the track, 45, so I don't get that nice little clockwise. And then the last one, my brain has failed me. So this is most useful on giant players, but also when Knox was doing that like big mega hold and I was unable to move her, this is also a good move for that. Same idea, you're juking, but instead of stepping in front, I'm juking, and then I'm angling my body and lift. Important hit here. When you're angling here, again, my hips are pointed 45. My hips are not 90, they're 45. And I want to use my shoulders and essentially wrap Knox in a hug like this. Everybody see the difference between this and this? I'm collapsing so that I'm protecting my core and she can't reverse hit me on there. And also I'm collapsing because as I start to drive, I'm going to really use this shoulder to hold Knox back so that she can't rotate around like that. Everybody see the difference there? Let's see. Let's talk with the step in first. So if Gator comes at like 10% speed to come and hit me, hit coming up on the end. First thing I'm going to do in all of this is comms. If I know that offense is coming, I don't care if I know that I can get it, I need to tell my friends. Because God forbid, maybe somebody hits me in a way that I'm not expecting or my knee weaks or goodness knows. Comms is the first step towards defending against offense. Put it again, offense coming in 2. And then the straight, the easiest one to do, if it's just a little baby hit like that, is exactly what I'm doing. I'm just loading up, which honestly, if Gator's coming in to hit here, and I have a jammer in pocket here, most likely what Gator is trying to do is either move me out of the way and have the jammer take that space, or just trying to incapacitate me. So oftentimes, a quick little boop is enough, and I'm already leaning on somebody, so I have that opportunity. That is option one. Let's do it a couple times on this side so people can see. Offensive one. Offensive two. Oh, and two. Oh, and two. You can go ahead and four too.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and four. Oh, and four. Can you tell that one side is better than the other for me? Oh, and four. Yeah. Right, so it's just a little bit of a practice of being aware, do a little bit of hit. Second thing, let's say, and this happens to us a lot on the line, let's say instead of trying to hit us out of position, they're trying to take our position, so they're trying to wrap around us, right? You can roll back. So if I was coming in two, coming out, we'll talk about formation next week, but that can be a brief detach of the formation, retach of the formation, which actually the Bees did really well yesterday when offense was coming in. If they're actively physically trying to take out your leg, so say a step over, right? Same principle applies. So depending on whether or not the jammer is coming around you on the back side or trying to plunge forward on the fore side, this is where you step. So the starting point after that calms is that as soon as this person leans into me like this, I dig in hard on my outside edge. I let this leg be free. And if I'm trying to prevent a drive, or sorry, if I'm trying to prevent a piercing of the formation, I step in front. If I'm trying to prevent a jammer going out, I step in back. We'll show it on this side as well, just so folks can see it. So if I'm here, Gator comes in, or in front. So it's very similar to that side hit that we were just showing, but instead of, can you do it on this side? So folks can see? Yeah, instead of, let's do it 10% speed. Instead of me taking a straight lateral hit to defend against, I am doing the same motion, but instead of stomping my foot down, I'm leaning on Gator and picking this foot up. Everybody see that difference? So those are the three things that we are going to practice as a point. Then we'll talk about wing defense. For the purposes of this, I want everybody to start at 20% force, and then blockers as you're starting to think predictive move. This is being very, very extra, very spicy. If you watch VRDL, they're pros at it. So if I'm here, and let's say I have a brace or I'm a wing or something like that, if Brower comes up, and I see that she's going, all we're doing, I'm gonna go, why don't we go 10% speed so I'll show what I'm doing. Offense coming from top. I'm taking a step backwards and throwing my shoulder back. Offense from front. Offense from front. Offense from front. I'm going to hit them out of bounds. Just cut there.
Yeah, because you're backwards, right?
Stepping out and just getting on top, and then we're zoning. All of these three things in that regard we're going to talk about next week in more detail, so don't worry about it today. Only to step and hit, or if you want to practice the timing of getting them out of bounds, you can, but that's a level 2. Get that level 1 hit first before you try messing around with it. Yeah, Jen?
Where are you aiming that hit? Is it middle of their chest or their shoulder?
Great question. Brower to demo. I actually don't remember. But I think I'm here. So usually trying, as always, anytime someone's backwards, I'm going for their sternum. The other reason is because I'm backwards and I don't necessarily see where they are. If I don't drop and I just try and hit them here, the likelihood that I accidentally face block them is not a good one.
Yeah, and if you do end up hitting shoulder, they might just shrug you off anyway.
Exactly. So the
Would you say that it's low towards the top of your armpit start?
yeah, I would say like sternum is ideal, but like breastbone. You can be forward or backwards, you can be in any lane, but essentially as soon as I make the first hit on goose, I want hips to rotate up and be no further than 1 person length in any